Yo, it's crypto blood, Detroit flow, streaming from the D, knowing what the show indicators are wrong point. OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro. I'm Rucker, Jerry, it's just blood too. Bad motherfucker in a good way, boo. Got my eyes on the charts, ain't no time to sleep. Kick that money, gotta keep it creep. That's my crypto blood, just the toasters on the line. Stacking my coin, got the market on my mind. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum too. Cash is king, but I'm
much love to CB, who's not going to be with us today.
Like the streets. Got my finger on the pulse, can't nobody beat. I see the trends, I see the flow. Got my strategies in place, you know.
Yo, it's MYBZ on the mic coming through the mist.
But I am joined by MYBZ.
You can't dismiss. YouTube's wild jungle, I'm the lion, can't resist. Got me with blockchain, teaching about the risk. Mind your biz, don't miss. Eeny, mighty biz, we on a privacy blitz. Seth in the mix, dropping knowledge with no tricks. YouTube to the wallet, keep it tight, no links. Click clack, I hack the facts, that's how I attack. From Bitcoin to Monero, stacking privacy back. YouTube's got eyes, but I'm the cloak in disguise. NYB on the rise, educating the wise. Mind your biz, don't miss. Eeny, mighty biz, we on the privacy blitz. Seth in the mix, dropping knowledge with no tricks. YouTube to the wallet, keep it tight, no links.
Yeah, smash that like button.
TVX, the mic's live wire. American Pitbull, real gold buyer. Sound money advocate, vice defender. In the crypto arena, he's the top contender. From the gritty streets of the digital age. Right slaves wisdom, chapter and page. Silver, gold, he scores only the bold. Land, life, and liberty, these values hold.
In case you didn't know, we are live.
Constitution, deep dive, knowledge revival. Navigate the system, critical for survival. Rights engraved like inscriptions on metal. Pitbull in the game, lead foot on the pedal.
So aggressive. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Before I remove this thumbnail, this beautiful artwork, we are currently, me, Seth from MineYourBiz. We are both live streaming on our YouTube channels. We're live streaming on our X accounts, and I'm live streaming on my Rumble. We have links down below in each other's video description for each other's socials. So make sure you're supporting us both. Make sure you're subscribed. Yeah. And shout out to Crypto Blood, who is sick, who is not going to be joining us today, but I'm here with my friend Seth, MYBZ.
Yep. Hey, you know what's funny? I think we didn't even coordinate this at all. We both just jumped on stream. You wearing a white hoodie and me wearing a black hoodie with a red background. Is this?
I thought about
trying to do an object lesson here today.
I don't know.
Right?
I really no. I thought about that when I saw you, but I also saw the blueprint on your on your little hoodie there. Mine's printless. I try to go with stuff that's not advertising anything, even though you can't tell what the hell like that says.
Right. Good. Because it's actually it's a project you like. Yeah, the founder I support, just fine. The project, I'm not trying to endorse anybody, but it's just really comfy. So
the yin to the yang, man, a yin to the yang. Let me go ahead and get something here corrected. Now, what I wanted to I had told you before we started, and let me okay, so I told you before I started that what I would like to do is play a video. The video comes from Jimmy Watson. Are you familiar with him?
No, but I saw the video, and so I'm excited to just like bring it up so we can, everyone.
But did you look in the video description and see the video?
No, I saw it. It was making the rounds on X, dude.
The Jimmy Watson video. It's like 4 minutes.
Maybe
I think it might be the same. It may not be the same. So anyways, I wanted to play that video and then I wanted to, there's an article that kind of stems from the video. And then I want to get into an open discussion because I think it would give some insight as to what's been going on in a lot of these sanctuary cities. We've seen a high increase of crime and New York City basically not being what it used to be. Which is really sad what's happening there. Chicago, the speculation of what's happening in Springfield, Ohio. And I say speculation because there's not a lot of actual physical proof of certain immigrants from Haiti, particularly possibly eating people's pets and taking out birds outside of parks and things to that effect, like ducks and geese and maybe kitty cats. That's why the thumbnail looked like it did, and hopefully the clickbait got you here. But I think there's more to it, man. And so let me go ahead and get this video pulled up, make sure I got video or got audio being shared. Before I play it, tell me if you even recognize this. Does this look like the video you've seen?
No, it was different.
Okay, so let me go ahead and full screen this, make sure we can hear it, and I'll just let me know. I'm gonna start playing it. Give me a yes if you can hear it, and I'll keep it going.
Man, y'all, my videos are getting slammed on my other platforms. Never thought that would happen until.
Now, real quick, a little background. This guy is Jimmy Watson was the former CEO for Team McAfee. When John McAfee got charged with the charges from the SEC and the IRS, he was also charged as well. So he was one of those individuals. He worked very closely with him. He was a Navy SEAL. I believe he was involved with Blackwater.
Dude,
so this guy is actually like the real deal when it comes to military experience, especially if you understand like type of people that John McAfee would hire, and being that this was his CEO. This is the guy that introduced me to Janice. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't probably have gotten to be the one to interview John McAfee as many times as I did. So I'm supposed to talk to him tomorrow, but I wanted to go ahead. I was going to cover this anyways, and I will just go ahead and want to let it play out. I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to go full screen, let it play the full way through. Then we could talk, and then we could talk about this article.
All right.
Around 800,000 audience, and they start to blast you with deep censorship, especially when it comes to the truth. So I'm moving over here on YouTube because I refuse to dance around the real issue. And
real quick, I think it's interesting. And I wanted to ask him, like, where is he being censored? He's saying he had like over 800,000 on this particular platform. He's being censored for this topic he's talking about that you can see at the very top of the screen. And he decided to move to YouTube. I mean, that's kind of a reverse move, but so I'm curious.
He's got to be talking about it. It's got to be Instagram or one of the Meta family companies, right? Facebook or Insta. Yeah, that's got to be what it's referring to.
That we are facing in America right now, especially at a time like this. And so I'm going to keep slugging it out. But I'll tell you, the writing is on the wall for people to wake up and get ready for the approaching storm. All right. Now, I don't have a pretty thumbnail for you to click on, but it's the content that matters. So here we go. Like I said, this information that I just put out got pulled off on my other platforms, and it was going viral. So here it goes. The globalists are planning to use migrants as a mercenary army against America. It sounds crazy, but I'm going to tell you exactly why the government is gaslighting us on the illegal border invasion. And if you think it's for power of votes, that's somewhat true. That's just the tip of the iceberg here. Like the Colorado governor who literally said the woman claiming Venezuela illegal immigrant gang home invasions was delusional until, of course, she produced the video footage on national news. Now everybody knows. Now they're backtracking. The Cloward-Piven strategy is a proven social engineering method which uses large-scale relocation of illegal immigrants into a society in order to destabilize that nation. I want to make it very clear. I don't think coming here legally is an issue because you go through a very thorough screening process. But the goal here is to import people illegally with incompatible or hostile ideologies, and eventually the culture breaks down. Look at Michigan with the 5 Muslim prayers blaring out on loudspeakers right now every day. And then they're forced to take a new system of governance, and that's liberty to communism. So they simply destroy the West from within by introducing millions of people that will never assimilate or unify with our beliefs. In fact, the Quran 929 literally says, fight those who do not believe in Allah and do not consider unlawful what Allah has made unlawful. Fight until they are humble. You feel me? Fight until you are humble. This Cloward-Piven method has proven highly effective because British citizens have been victimized for over a decade now by migrant attacks and organized crime. This is no longer a conspiracy theory. And that's exactly why the Brits keep telling us now, whatever the case, don't give up your guns, no matter what. We are now seeing the first of many organized large gangs of illegal immigrants conducting militaristic operations like the Venezuela gang against our citizens. By the way, they're not being shipped here by the millions to simply live off the fruits of our labor. They are being brought into the U.S. as enforcers. Think about this. Nothing is for free in this life. They are essentially bought and paid for. They are mercenaries recruited with offers of easy citizenship, government handouts, and the opportunity to extort the very Western populations they despise. The top 20 most oppressive nations in the world are also the same ones sending caravans of migrants our way. And 80% of the millions of migrants are military-age men. Coincidence? Progressives say that we need to help these people out, though, but they are unwilling to allow them to live in their ultra-rich neighborhoods. So it can't be true what they're saying because their actions don't back up their words. You see, most illegal migrants can't be helped because they aren't coming here to be free. They don't understand freedom. They're coming here to take. They don't understand diplomacy. Look at Iraq when we try to incorporate our voting democracy that lasted about, 2-3 months until everyone was unalive that supported it. Same in Afghanistan. You see, for them, tolerance is not a virtue. It's a weakness that can be exploited to their advantage. Meanwhile, the government is desperately trying to hide statistics that show how much violence is actually being committed by non-citizens right now. United we stand, divided we fall. If the current administration stays, illegal immigrants will be rushed to free citizenship and they will go after our patriots, unfortunately. I want to make sure to give full credits to Brandon Smith for his thorough research and a very well-written article on all this subject. Make sure to subscribe to go on this journey with me and become part of this mighty warrior family.
All right. So initial thoughts. I see you kind of made some stuff in the comments, but we've been touching on this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then even more. So in our chat, right? I think like when we do this once a week live stream, we do a little bit of pre-gaming, right? A little bit of like bouncing ideas back and forth. And yesterday, when you and Blood were bringing some of the topic up, you recall I mentioned like, hey, let's put another little piece to this puzzle together. This is very weird timing, also to have fully shut down Library. LBRY is the ticker symbol for
because you were telling me about 3D files for what could be considered projectile weapons.
Yep. So all of you can call them the 3D2A community, right? If you want to use the hashtag 3D2A community, they hosted all of their files. They thought in a permissionless and untakedownable way on Library. And that's one of the few ways in which, as U.S. citizens, we can fully exercise our Second Amendment privilege and right, is that it's not just that you as a citizen are permitted to go through a background check to go and obtain one of these items. It's that if you possess the know-how and the wherewithal, right, the materials to do it, you are permitted to be your own smith of these items and build them at home. You just can't transfer them legally based on the NFA, right? The act that was done a long time ago. That's the reason, for example, that the tax stamp cost $200. They thought it was going to be an amount that nobody could ever afford. They weren't planning on inflation back then. Thank God, because it helped us all kind of bypass a lot of awkwardness there. And so, yeah, the 3D2A community, they saw also rest in peace, Jay Stark. There was a German national who made a lot of these kinds of files, right? To allow a person to take common household items plus a 3D printer and then combine it into something less common and very useful, right? If you're being threatened by large amounts of lethal force, you need to be able to defend yourself. And I think that the takeaway I'm getting, both from what this guy's saying and from what we've just been kind of seeing around the news, is that all that questioning of like who would ever need more than say 10 rounds in a small magazine. Well, if a gang of thousands of people have moved into your town, you might start there. Those people might need more than 10. They might need more than 10 in the box and also one in the chamber. But yeah.
But what about the idea that these people are being brought over here for the purpose of being a mercenary army? I mean,
Army,
this is shit the algo may not like, but this is an issue I think that we need to talk about, and I'm trying to skate around it as best we can, but can't really replace those two words with other words that make sense.
right. So kind of
hired guns. I mean, I guess that's a little bit less, but
maybe. But at the same time, with those numbers, I think that it's just an overwhelming amount of people who, may well fit into the category of genuinely needing help. They might be genuine refugees from a humanitarian problem and crisis. But the way that they were displaced, the fact that they were displaced so abruptly, the fact that they were given unfettered access to entitlement programs that our own veterans and that our own, any number of our own domestic citizens who are going through difficulty and hardship don't have access to. First off, who's funding it? Wait, I'm going to stop you right there. We already know we're funding it. But none of us and none of our own are benefiting from the additional funding being earmarked to do this. So it's not just that we're seeing social disruption and cultural disruption. It's that we're paying top dollar to do it, like what our tax money.
Right. That's so. The definition from Wikipedia, and this is a good definition. Not that Wikipedia is always the best resource, but in this particular instance, the Cloward-Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologists and political activists Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. The strategy aims to utilize militant anti-poverty groups to facilitate a political crisis by overloading the welfare system via an increase in welfare claims, forcing the creation of a system of guaranteed minimum income and redistribution income through the federal government. Now, if you look at what's happening in New York City, in Chicago, even in Springfield, Ohio, regardless of the animal stuff, the pet stuff, there apparently the migrants in Ohio apparently have these unlimited credit cards and have EBT cards with $5,000 balances, because as we were talking before we were streaming, the balance for those things showing the receipt, and the cashier can see this stuff, and it's a small town.
Right.
That area in particular is a small town. And I think it was Memories of Mike was saying something about Aurora. If you live near there, man, hit me up, because I'm actually considering doing some like on the road, like going to places and seeing what the actual hell is going on versus what's being reported. Because like the issue of what's happening with whether or not people are eating animals in Ohio or gangs taking over apartments, there's so much confliction as to what's being said. It's not like, yes, this is happening. It's like, if you look up these kind of things, you're going to see a lot of mis and disinformation. But then if you look at some of these YouTube channels, which I would consider to be almost independent media, going to these actual locations, it seems like there's truth to what's being said, to what's being denied by local governments, state governments, and the media in combination. I mean, the New York Post is saying that this landlord is forced to sell the Colorado apartment complex after it was taken over by migrant gangs. Well, specific gangs. And I'm sure those three words are a trigger to the algo, so I'm not going to try to give it like a heart attack here and kill us.
The full name or whatever. And I hear that, but at the same time, I mean, it's so. I mean, where's the fine line between being somebody who's welcoming, as the United States has always been, and being somebody who's an outright, so-called xenophobe, right? Where you're afraid of every other culture, you can't possibly stand it. Well, this is a little more blatant, right? The clash of, like you said, using something that's almost strategic to displace that many people in these large city centers. I mean, it is becoming a little more obvious when they're bussed in or flown in en masse with no other checks, with no other preparation, their first time on American soil, or second or third time on American soil, barely going anywhere, having no real experience with society, is there among these other people who are, like you said, are impoverished and veteran communities, relatively low income communities, frankly. Right. It does make that claim of what you said, the Cloward-Piven method. It makes it a lot more plausible, right? Because it's like, wow, it's what is it? It's like 30% of the local population now is this new migrant encampment, essentially, right? I mean, it's massive.
Well, let me see if it says here. So you have 15,000 Haitians that have come through since 2020 in a city of 59,000. So what is that?
Okay.
25%?
Well, I think diluted, it's almost 20%. It's still double digits. It's
25, 25, because 15 times 4 is 60.
That's right. But when you add that last part, it's 1 out of 5. So it's 20%. But the point is,
still a lot is what I'm saying.
It's massive.
That's
yes,
enough. That's enough to cause and I'm not necessarily blaming the individual migrants, because they're being brought in by their community, like in like kind of like a communal way with like people from one area. Like that's why like Colorado, you're hearing Venezuelans. And Ohio, you're hearing Haitians. So different groups are coming, and you've got to also kind of consider, it's not like they're paying, obviously, if they can just go get a driver's license with just a little pass, you've got to consider that what is going on in their country. Where do they come from? How was it there? Because apparently in Haiti, they don't have restrictive driving laws. So apparently there's been an increase in accidents.
I can tell you from having lived in Miami, lived and driven in Miami, that I mean, without saying anything bad about the culture itself, dude, I know who I like sharing the road with in Miami, and I know who I don't like sharing the road with in Miami. All of those stories are believable, dude. That's all I'm going to say on the road.
Right.
And you can go
but I'm saying it's not like they're not being given a manual of like, hey, this is how we conduct ourselves here. Like this is what we expect of you for living in this area. And so it's like you're just throwing in one culture into another area, and it's obviously going to cause some sort of upheaval. I mean, now I'm not saying I agree completely with what was said as far as legal immigration. But illegal immigration is something that I don't think any of us should tolerate, because ultimately it's not good for the country. We've already seen a situation where there was some ISIS terrorists that had gotten through on the border that ended up having to get arrested. And I believe it was Homeland Security and FBI or something to that effect that ran a operation to arrest them. So that's more tax dollars for allowing individuals to get through the border that should never have gotten through the border to begin with. Had they not been allowed in, you wouldn't have had to spend tax dollars or budgets from these military industrial complex agencies to go in and do this bullshit. So yeah, I want to go ahead, if you're cool with it, play that. When I say play, the article that he was mentioning at the end of the video. I found that article, and I'd like to basically allow for the AI to read it. So if you're cool with that, because I think it's a great article. Where's my read aloud? Where's the read aloud on this? Translate to English read aloud.
That used to be a premium plugin on Chrome or whatever, or Firefox. Get like text readers and stuff.
Yeah, I got this British lady voice.
You're doing it right, man. Seriously, if you got to be read to all day, then she better be pleasant, because otherwise it's gonna be like, shut up. It's not coming through, Bryce, on the screen share.
The shit. Okay, let me see. Hold on. I think I know why.
So
I got it playing in my fucking ear, so let me stop it.
There's a comment here that says any attempt to offer a solution will get any YouTube channel banned.
Probably.
I don't know what that.
I mean,
I don't know what that means. I know that for my personal space, though. Like, if I can just take this one real quick, like my personal space is sovereign. You don't have access to it. This is kind of corny, but we're going to first principles here, non-aggression principle. My personal space is sovereign. You don't have access to it. That's precisely why I'm allowed to use my words, First Amendment, and my actions, Second Amendment, to defend myself as you approach me. This looming threat, I think, does boil down to that individual accountability for protecting oneself and staying sovereign. I think it's really that simple. Not that it's going to come to, in my mind, MARTIAL law anytime soon, but I think I think it's pretty obvious that there are people in downtown Denver who wish that they had prepared a little bit better.
Oh, I agree.
I
agree. No, I got this on screen to show like how much the censorship has increased. So on August 18th, they removed the video, but they didn't give me a strike. They gave me like, hey, you probably didn't know. One of those situations. I appealed it. They rejected it. And then on September 7th, so this would have been 4 days ago, and I shared this. I think this was Friday or Saturday night. I shared it in our Telegram group. You could see community guidelines. So they took down 3 videos. Technically, it could have killed my channel. They took down 3 videos: 3:24 a.m., 3:25 a.m., 3:25 a.m. Right?
And that's
now,
that.
look,
Yeah, and they know you. They know your time zone. They know where you live.
3:47, less than 20 minutes, rejected. 3:49, rejected. 3:51 a.m. rejected. So they were doing the rejections within 20 minutes, and these are videos from my appearances on RT. Okay, so I got 3 videos removed on Friday or Saturday night that they didn't give me a strike for. It was another one of those. We're going to remove these, and maybe you didn't know. I'm really surprised because that could have killed my channel. So I'm telling everybody to make sure that you're following us, other content creators on different platforms. For me specifically, go over to ricetvx.com, sign up for my mailing list. I'm getting ready to get my mailing list back up. I know I've been talking about it, but I have to do it at this point.
No, it's the right way, man, for sure. And if I can ask the same thing, audience, if you're interested in anything related to privacy, that's kind of more I help fill in the gaps on the educational side. Is some of the more down to earth, or down and dirty tech stuff. If you want to know, for example, exactly which of the 2 Trezor models you should trust, or if you should not upgrade and just stick with the old one, that's the kind of stuff that I do. A little more nerdy, a little more techie, and a lot more privacy oriented in terms of just like practical stuff for you to use, so you can, enjoy encryption and not always be looking over your shoulder.
Are you on Rumble?
I am.
Okay, what is it? Is it under MineYourBiz?
It's just MineYourBiz. Anything for clicks is finally asking, why didn't they mention crypto last night during the debate? Rice, do you have an answer for this? What the hell?
Well, if I encourage people, because it was kind of entertaining. Me and Blood were both drinking. I told Blood if he was sick, it wasn't a good idea. But with that being said,
really, I've heard it's really good.
I guess it's supposed to kill your immune system, depending. I don't know. So that's what they say. So, but me and him, I said at the beginning that I didn't think it was going to be brought up, period, because nothing in Kamala's potential plans for her proposals for what she plans on doing with her administration mentions crypto, which is limited, but mentions nothing about crypto. And Donald Trump, I told you, is an opportunist and only says it when it benefits him. And then the more they talk about it, the more relevancy and legitimacy it actually gives. And I don't really think that. I think they realize they have to play the game. Because I mean, real quick, and this goes back regardless of what politician you are, when you get high level politicians like this saying this, then you understand why we are where we are.
And then one more area that I hope nation states start paying greater attention to is the rise of cryptocurrency. Because what looks like a very interesting and somewhat exotic effort to literally mine new coins in order to trade with them has the potential for undermining currencies, for undermining the role of the dollar.
Wait, did she say mine? Trying to hint at it being undermining? Did she just try to use neuro-linguistic programming?
Oh, interesting. I didn't catch that.
Think about this new
environment
in which we find ourselves that we've been discussing for the last some minutes.
It's almost done.
We can't just think about nation states.
Yeah, I was gonna say
now for someone of her caliber to mention it, that was like, to me, a last step thing for trying to get the attention of people. You take things in stages of people's influence over others, and you don't want to have your top dogs shooting it down because someone like Hillary saying it, someone like Donald Trump saying it brings legitimacy and relevancy to the subject. So let me try this.
Polarizes over a topic in a way that is not particularly useful. Do you know how many? So the Krassenstein brothers, you may have heard of them on X because they're incredibly left of center politically and very loud and vocal, but they're also big time crypto and NFT people. There are people who are like diehard Marxists, so like outright Marxists, who are also into crypto, and they feel just fine about this. But for whatever reason, the DNC is trying to tell you that, for as socialist as they're becoming, that you should hate crypto. There are a lot of people who are really struggling with this, Rice, because they don't know how to stay true to what they think are their ideals, right, politically, while also staying true to what they know crypto can do for them and their families.
I'm going to go ahead and try this and tell me if you can hear it, because I'm doing a full screen share with the audio.
By Brandon Smith.
Yep.
Why do Western officials insist on gaslighting the public on illegal border crossings?
Can you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to can you deal with her voice?
It's the TikTok voice too. Oh my gosh, right, guys? Hey, thumbs up in the chat if you hear the TikTok voice.
Or should I change the voice? Would you prefer that?
Oh no, it's okay. Fine. It just sounds like one of those whole like I made half a sandwich and then I did this thing for my day.
So it just goes into a lot more depth, and I figured, okay, fuck it, I'll just read it. How's that? So why do Western officials insist on gaslighting the public on illegal borders and crossings? Why do they attempt to destroy anyone that publicly opposes mass immigration from the third world? The laws on the books support the public's majority position on immigration. Come here legally or don't come here at all. In Europe, the UK, and the US, polls show a majority of citizens want reductions in immigration and better border security, yet government officials who often claim to be protecting democracy brazenly ignore these major concerns. Why? Let me go ahead and increase the font size since I'm reading this and I'm old.
Thank you, man. I don't have my glasses on.
I'll actually even bring it up a little bit more. Okay, here we go. For many years now, I have offered a specific theory on the true agenda behind open border policies in Western countries, and I believe this theory answers most of the questions surrounding illegal immigration. The common claim with the Liberty movement is that this is all part of the Cloward-Piven strategy, a social engineering method which uses large-scale relocation of migrants into a society in order to destabilize that nation. The goal is to import people with an incompatible or hostile ideology, and eventually the target culture will break down and be forced to accept a new system of governance, i.e. from free markets and liberty to communism and slavery. If Western populations are unified in opposing the globalist ideology, then the task of deconstruction become impossible for them. So they simply destroy the West from within by introducing millions of people that will never assimilate or unify. My theory goes beyond the Cloward-Piven explanation, though. I think there's a deeper and even more sinister purpose to the introduction of third world immigrants to the US and Europe. I summarized my position in my article.
Hey, Rice, I'm going to interrupt real fast. Sorry, I'm going to let you finish in a second. But first, hey, guys, thanks for the thumbs ups. I want you to come up with a heart emoji or something. What do you think of Rice's voice now that he's reading instead of the bot? Because I think it's great that we have a human reading. And Rice, I appreciate you. You could be the Morgan Freeman of our time. I'm just saying.
Well, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Okay, so this particular article that he summarizes his position, you can find a link, and this is at alt-market.us. So in the cultural replacement, why the immigration crisis is being deliberately engineered, published in January, he noted, or I noted, I'm just reading it, I have mentioned this in previous articles, and I continue to believe that one of the main purposes for the establishment is to leave borders open and entice illegals to enter is to create a migrant army, a situation in which millions of illegals will be offered easy citizenship in exchange for service. I also believe that this migrant army will be used against the American public, the real citizenry, to impose martial law measures in the wake of a national disaster. In other words, my argument was that migrants from the third world are not merely being used as unwitting tools for cultural saturation of the West. They're not being shipped in by the millions to simply live off the fruits of our labor and our ancestors' labor. I believe they are being brought in the US, UK, and Europe as enforcers for the establishment. Think about it. They are essentially bought and paid for. They are mercenaries recruited with offers of easy citizenship, government handouts, and the opportunity to brutalize the very Western and generally white populations they despise. And they are allowed to do this while hiding behind government law enforcement agencies for protection. With the two-tier policing system in place, and we see that in New York City, the migrants can do whatever they want without much fear of repercussions. In Europe, there is an added problem of expanded Islamic immigration, which is directed by religious doctrine to conquer non-believers from the Quran. I'll let you guys read that. Third world migrants are hired muscles for the political elites. They can terrorize the populace, and if the native population takes action to defend itself, the government can step in, call them hateful racists, and declare martial law. It's win-win. The migrants then help with the enforcement of that martial law as the government doubles down on two-tier policing. There are those that insist the anti-immigration position is a false paradigm. The notion of false paradigms has become a plague amongst liberty movement thinkers. that needs to be abandoned. The reality is that we are not just fighting against the globalists. We also have to fight the people that wittingly or unwittingly aid the globalists. The elites have help instigate conflicts, but many of these divisions already exist without their influence. For example, third world cultures are intrinsically violent and authoritarian. The top 20 most violent nations and most oppressive nations in the world are also the same nations sending caravans of migrants our way. Progressives will claim that's a good thing and that we need to help these people. It's not a good thing, and most of them can't be helped because they aren't coming here to be free. They're coming here to take whatever they can. The majority of people from these regions will never be able to coexist peacefully within Western communities. They don't understand freedom. They don't understand diplomacy. They don't understand compromise. For them, tolerance is not a virtue. It's a weakness that can be exploited to their advantage. This is a fact proven time and time again. In mass migrations accelerate, and I think my theory has recently been vindicated by events in the UK. British citizens have been victimized for over a decade by migrant attacks and organized crime. A two-tier policing system in the UK continues to protect these migrants from retribution from the government, while the government hides statistics that show how much violence is being committed by non-citizens. The British riots last week were a rare moment when patriots finally spoke out on open borders and took to the streets, only to be declared Nazis and racists. The use of riot police to quell property damage and fighting would be understandable to a point, except that aggressive migrant protests had been going on for months with very little police interference. Again, two-tier policing is obvious. I want to go ahead and continue down because this is getting very specific in the situation that had happened in the UK. So I have a link for this in my video description. I'll send to you, Seth, so you can put it in yours, so people can read this article in its entirety.
No, definitely appreciate that. And I mean, when we got a minute for the close-up, I'll do it on the camera here, but I've got a book recommendation. It's actually really fun.
Real quick,
Yeah,
regardless of the outcome of the U.S. elections in November, the illegal immigration crisis will be central to everything we do in the next couple of years. If leftists remain in political power, then it's likely we'll see a similar attempt at a crackdown on patriots from an arrogant Harris administration. I believe Harris will most definitely offer citizenship to every illegal already in the country, many of them in exchange for military service, buying a mercenary force, and progressive voting bloc at the same time, ending any chance of conservatives ever participating in government again. In the second case, or in the case of a second Trump administration, the situation changes. The removal of the illegal migrants will be the top issue, and leftists in the United States will try to prevent it. They view the migrants as key to their kingdom, the way to destroy capitalism and bring in woke socialism. Removal of illegals will set them back decades. Leftists will riot rather than lose. It's a certainty. The difference is U.S. patriots are armed 50 million strong with over 400 million guns and hundreds of billions of rounds of ammunition, and now receiving a lot of emails from these days from the UK and European readers who are saying they are desperate for the same firearms. Same firearm rights that we have in the United States, the U.S. They tell me, never give up your guns. Don't worry, we won't. We know it's coming, thanks to the events in the UK. And so the title of the article, if people didn't catch it, and it's a great article, is Britain is proof globalists plan to use migrants as hired individuals against the West. All right.
I'd never thought about it like framing it as like hired mercenaries, but that's a great way of looking at it. I mean, and what better way to hire them as mercenaries than to not even let them know that they're being played like that? Just tens of thousands of pawns.
Yeah, no, it's something interesting to think about. And then when you think back in retrospect now of what's been happening in Chicago, what's been happening in New York City, what's happening in Aurora, Colorado, what's happening in Springfield, Ohio, just those areas specifically, does that not relate back to everything that we just talked about for the last 40 fucking minutes? No,
completely. No, it does validate that particular theory. What I'm going to say is the actionable solutions, though, for us on the ground, there's only so much. There's only so much that can be done to help stem the flow of the illegal immigration. I mean, we can't, unfortunately, stop that. But we can be prepared for whatever happens in our own personal communities. So like Aurora, Colorado, It's kind of sad that Denver itself is so incredibly, is such an incredibly gun grabbing area. The Denver metro area is so incredibly anti-gun because actually the state of Colorado is quite friendly. So it's weird, but yeah.
Have you heard? And I haven't seen like whether or not there's any legitimacy or truth to this because I haven't seen like any sort of documentation that proves it, but something to the effect of bikers or Hell's Angels deciding that they were just going to go ahead and just take this shit in their own hands.
That's fun. I think that got a few people some attention on Instagram for a couple of days, right? Like going and taking some stock photo, like some Associated Press photo from the fucking 90s and saying, the Hell's Angels are coming. They're going to go clean up the streets. Like,
well, it kind of sounds like something a bike gang would do if like some Punisher type shit.
Yeah. So
the science and ethics of immigration. Interesting. That's an interesting book. I never would have thought that you would have had a book about borders. Well, it's a child's book, sort of.
Yes.
Teenager book.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. It's written with all the principles of immigration that are relevant to understanding microeconomies even. So it speaks to inflation. It speaks to it doesn't speak to the principle that you mentioned before, right? This Cloward-Piven strategy. It doesn't speak to that at all, but it does talk to just sort of as a bird's eye overview, how the system can get overstrained in certain ways. And it talks about a few ways that can happen, but it starts by fully acknowledging the opposing view, right? It doesn't do it in a dumb, like we're making fun of the other guys kind of way. It does it where it fully lays out in a steelman argument the idea of open borders and the idea of whatever, closed borders being a form of global apartheid. We're actually being oppressive by closing our borders. But they go there and then they work you all the way back to the other side through reason, point by point. It's pretty great. And yeah,
no, that's cool.
Yeah, understand it.
I've also am reminded too, like when I was in going to school in college, I was, and this is like just like 9-10 years ago, I was doing this. I was in a sociology class and I had to write, or excuse me, what class was I in? Yeah, I was in a sociology class and I had to do a paper, and I ended up doing a paper on demographics, meaning you have certain races and birth rates and how many children are being birthed per capita, per person, in those demographics versus other demographics, and how that can change the culture and change a country. And that's kind of like the idea is like, and we've seen it here in the United States as more Spanish people come here, whether illegally or illegally, it seems like most Spanish people have, like, families have more children per person than the average white family or the average black family per se. So that's where you see increases in population, like, do that. And so with that being said, I mean, like, the Muslims have that kind of philosophy. It's like, if we go into the Western world and we just birth as many children as we can, we will be able to overtake that population. And Germany and France are kind of gearing in that direction. And now the UK is kind of in that same perspective with as many Muslim immigrants. Now, I mean, there's a lot of there are moderates, but most Muslims are not moderate. They want Sharia law to be implemented everywhere. And the way to do that is to have a majority Muslim population.
Well,
so that's something interesting to think about.
Yeah. I mean, I hear that. It's so difficult because you have with Sharia law, you do have this sense of certainty. You have a sense of social order, which I know is familiar, right, for people who are being displaced. And so like in the mind of an immigrant who's like, wow, I don't have my home. I don't have anything familiar from back home at all, other than the clothes on my back. Maybe I'm lucky enough to be somewhat close to my family, and then my belief system that comes with me. So, you have those mental anchors of like, no, God will provide for me in a certain way if I do certain things. And for them, it's just, it's a slightly different rule set than what most of North America was initially based on. We're very much a Judeo-Christian, right, of culture to start.
Seemingly, yes.
Or now, yeah. Anyway, at this point, Judeo-Christian primarily. Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to bring up, which I thought was really, it wasn't something that I meant to do by coincidence. I just happened to be like, today is the anniversary of 9/11. And, we were looking at a potential, and what was reported as a terrorist attack. And here we are talking about something that's very parallel. on the same day. Like yesterday, I was doing a live stream with Aaron Day, and let me tell you how like weirdly synchronistic some of this stuff is. So we've done three. That was our third conversation. And I wanted to break our conversations down into certain subjects. And this one we did yesterday was on privacy coins and alternative currencies. And I do have a future conversation with you and him about privacy coins. I was talking to him about, and it wasn't even something I had any intention of bringing up. It was just once we were talking, things started coming in my head, and I was reminded of the IRS Monero bounty. Remember that?
Right. Yeah.
The article that I pulled up was from September 10th, and I can't remember, it was 2019 or 2020. I think it was 2020, but it was the same fucking day, X amount of years later, like 4 or 5 years later, that when I showed him that article yesterday, it was September 10th, and the article was written September 10th, 4 or 5 years ago. Dude. I just found that to be really weirdly synchronistic, that I just brought up something unplanned that just happened to be written on the same, and then did not have any, wasn't thinking about specifically what to talk about in advance for 9/11, and it just is, it parallels. So I've been finding a lot of really crazy synchronicities, and I am trying to interview a couple people that have gone down to the border, that have gone down to other countries to follow some of the migrant caravans. That would be like Chris Martinson. He went down with, I believe, Eric Weinstein. Ann Vandersteel was with them, and I know Ann, and she's been on my show before, so I think I can get her on to talk about what she experienced by visiting. I think they went to Panama, if I'm not mistaken, because there's a caravan going like all throughout Central America.
Okay, yeah, I thought that might be overhyped too, but apparently, I guess if that's true, that's more to be concerned about. Let me. This
was like 3-4 months ago that they went and did this, so I don't know if it's like dissipated, calmed down, or if they just caught like something at a good moment. But that's apparently what the deal was. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. I mean, it's disconcerting though, the fact that we have like these other colonies just kind of showed up. These other little encampments just kind of showed up. Like, I didn't know that we were trying to place tens of thousands of Haitians, right, anywhere in the United States. I didn't know it was part of what we were doing by way of foreign aid right now. It was housing displaced Haitians. So kind of weird. Memories
was
with Mike,
displaced people from everywhere
in the chat. Yeah, no, totally. Memories with Mike just mentioned in the chat. A lot of them are very family oriented and want to avoid drawing attention to themselves as well. I think you're right in terms of
the majority. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too, is if you watch some of these videos from some of these individuals who have gone either to Colorado or to Ohio, I mean, you're going to get, especially from the people that were Venezuelan in Colorado and the Haitian people in Ohio, they seem like there was a lot of really good people. So it just takes a small group of people to make it goes back to that guilty by association stuff.
No, it creates a stereotype, but I mean, unfortunately, there is there have been some problems though with all this stuff for sure. With that, I'll say though, growing up, I had neighbors that were originally from Afghanistan and who had sought and were successfally awarded political asylum in the United States. So they were, living there totally legally, worked regular jobs. Some of the best neighbors we ever had actually were these Afghan immigrants. But, they came here in a very motivated way. They came here seeking freedom. They didn't come here seeking.
They probably came here legally too, through the correct process. And that's the only thing that I would like to see take place. Is I don't like the idea of open borders and anybody and anyone could just get through that we don't know who they are, when we're allowing people that could potentially terrorize the citizens and maybe already are. I mean, anything that we're talking about as far as like Venezuela and Ohio, and to me, it shit pales in comparison to like what I know is happening in New York City.
Yeah, geez. Yeah,
I mean, they're turning in hotels into places for migrants to stay. Again, they're giving them like unlimited cash cards because they had spent millions of dollars on food programs that turned out to be BS programs that just were waste of money. and resources.
too
So they
bad.
spend more money and more resources and give them these cards. Now it doesn't, I don't think some of these cards they're allowed to use unlimitedly for whatever. I think it's just like they have like a really nice food budget.
Yeah, there's still, that there's already a bit of a black market for this stuff.
Oh,
There has to already be, right?
Like, you buy
some...
a bunch of like Red Bulls or whatever, and you go trade them for whatever you want. You couldn't buy in the convenience store.
Right. There's somebody who's like, they're getting the inventory.
I mean, it's not even that. It's not just that. It's people going into the store, stealing stuff out of the store, selling the stuff right outside the store they stole it from.
Right.
Saying, buy it for me, I'll give you a discount.
Right.
And it's apparently allowed. I mean, that's the thing. So a lot of people that I've gotten to in Ohio when they were talking about the driver's license thing and welfare services and human aid services and things like this, how these individuals are getting preferential treatment. And you also have people in these areas now, for whatever reason, they're homeless. And they're trying to get aid and help from the local area, and they're not able to get it, but they're seeing these migrants that are coming in that are just getting it. And it's like, why can't we take care of people from our own country before we start taking care of other people? Or why don't we give our own citizens preferential treatment over those type of individuals?
Yeah, or hell, I mean, let's go even.
I mean,
simpler. Why aren't we even giving sufficient care to our veterans? Like,
this is like just normal shit that I think most people agree upon. It's just people aren't speaking up about the topic.
Well, it's weird. I mean, nobody's asking. I don't know why nobody left of center is asking where the budget is coming from.
In our circle,
yes, no, totally. But I don't know why, like in the left of center, nobody's asking where these budgets come from, because there are plenty of servicemen and women who come out of the armed forces who vote Democrat. They're very much aligned with the DNC. That's a thing, right? Like it always has been. There's some diversity of political thought in the armed forces. So I don't know how there aren't more people like outraged that it's very clear that some of these budgets, they come from somewhere, and we're still seeing our veterans failed. Like having to rely on any kind of psychiatric care or any ongoing care as a veteran in this country, like we should be appalled at the quality of care that we offer. And clearly with this, like the anecdotal stories, right, of like reading the EBT receipt, whatever else, seeing the unlimited credit card or whatever, like this is outrageous when we have our own vets, people who served our country or secured our borders or secured our interests. They're being left to literally fucking die in the street. Maybe stepped over by immigrants who are, have cash falling out of their pockets. It's crazy.
And again, I mean, I don't want to sound like a bigot. I don't think that there's a problem with all of these individuals. It's just certain ones. And if you're going to, you shouldn't be allowing people that are criminals in other countries. Because here's the crazy thing, right? I've had a DUI in my life, and because of that DUI, I technically can't go to Canada. I have to get special requests. I have to go through a process of you just can't cross. Like if you have a record like that, they're not going to let you over. So it's, if I can't go to Canada because of a DUI, then we shouldn't be allowing people over the border that are murderers.
That's, I mean, you're just your problem is, Rice. You know, your real problem is I'm
a racist. I'm a
racist. You're a rule follower. It's such a rule follower. I mean, clearly all you have to do is just bust your way across the border, and then, glory awaits. You've been asking permission instead of asking who's going to stop me. Just saying.
So I'm thinking about going down to Mexico and busting through the border and seeing if I can get some of these benefits. I want to get a little tan.
Yeah, dude, right.
You want to go do it with me? Because your last name's Estrada. We could do it together. We could be familia. Right. We could cross through the border. We could just come to the border and we could get the benefits too. We could just start.
Dude, we could do it like Borat. We could like a hidden camera show, but you're going to have to be, unfortunately, you have to Trudeau this one up. You're going to have to be in blackface just to make it thoroughly offensive to everybody. But
the thing is that they probably would not let me across the border with blackface.
The funny thing is
that might be the only thing to prevent you.
With the current administration, they just might. And you'd be like, you know what? I can't identify my gender either to you because that would be cheating. Right, that would make it too easy for you guys. So just go ahead and become an intersectional border crossing agent of chaos.
I want to become a migrant. I'm gonna migrate. I'm gonna go to Mexico. I might go to Mexico in November potentially, and if I do, I'm gonna migrate back up here, and then I'm gonna cross.
So your Halloween costume is gonna be a Mexican, and you're gonna
dude, I'm gonna
come back over, and they're gonna give you money, and then
when I get a little bit of sun, just a little bit more sun, just a little bit more. Even I don't even really have to be that much darker. When I go to Miami, a lot of people think I'm Cuban, so I think I can. No habla inglés. No habla.
Right.
Just work on my accent a little bit, you know. I think spend a little time with some homies.
Yeah, you can even use a different accent. Apparently, they don't really care. They're not really checking to see if you're from Mexico when you cross the border. So
no, they just want you to be military age. But I'm technically not. I'm 49, so I don't know if they would consider that military age. But if I don't have an ID and I'm pretending to be some foreigner, I could be whatever age I want to be. I guess I could. I guess I could be a 35-year-old military age male from another foreign land coming here to sack the Americas.
Yeah, just tell them to respect your age identity. Be like, hey, I identify as exactly 29.
If we can get one of those magic money cards, imagine what we could do for the promotion for our channels.
Are you kidding, dude? The DCA and crypto, just like go get a magic money card and just get fake docs for like.
If the government gives me like one of those unlimited credit cards once I come to the border, it's like, hey, here you go. That's what I'm assuming. Like my welcome package is going to include an EBT card, an unlimited credit card, magic money card, and no rules.
Basically, yeah, that is the other thing. I mean, with the
a water and some crackers. Maybe a piece of fruit and a bus ticket or a plane ticket.
Yeah,
that's your immigrant starter kit.
Dude, you gotta wear this. There's got to be some Halloween event where you can actually have all this stuff in the kit, the immigrant starter kit, and we'll put you in. Not blackface. That is very disrespectful, but you know, make sure it's obvious that I'm an immigrant.
And I feel so sorry. I mean, even for the people that came through illegally that are being kind of lumped in this whole category of just, people being brought here for the wrong reasons. Because that's obviously not true. I mean, I've seen situations with families where you can definitely tell, unless somebody's like just really straight up a good liar, that, they're not here for any other reason than try to make a better life.
Yeah.
But sadly, the people in New York City, I don't know, just recently, this made me think about this too. They just been recently offering trips back home to people. So it's like, hey, let us know if you want to go back home and we'll supply you a ticket. Come get your ticket. And so many people are like, well, I came to America thinking that, I was going to have all this opportunity, and I'm realizing, no, screw that. Like, let me go back home. Take me back to Venezuela, please.
Yeah, right, dude. That's just good policy, I think. When you have what is your foreign policy for your state? Well, I don't know. What's your welfare policy for your state? I thought it was just for citizens. The plane ticket's cheaper than a lifetime of entitlements.
Well, especially being how many more immigrants are still coming to New York City specifically, and how much of a problem it is. I mean, dude, stores are closing up. Rent is getting like crazy. There are basically no vacancies.
Yeah,
and they basically killed tourism. So and a lot of the local areas kind of dependent too on some of that tourism. People are moving because of the fucking influx in crime. There's scooter gangs going around stealing purses and cell phones and stuff. They're doing it.
Dude, Central Park. Is third world crap.
That's what they're doing in New York City, and they've been doing that for several months. And a lot of these people they're letting go. They're getting arrested and they're letting them go. And that's the thing. I technically have a restricted driver's license. If I was to go out and start driving and get pulled over, they're not gonna fucking just let me go.
Yeah, that's kind of the bullshit part, right? At this point, it's again, you're a rule follower. You've been trying to stay integrated into the system here. And your reward for that is that you will be fine.
Your reward is fuck you.
Anybody else? Yeah.
No, your reward's fuck you. Your reward is okay, you bitch ass citizen. Listen,
but
listen harder.
So long, and thanks for all the taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as if I want to follow the rules. It's just this is like kind of like the things that have been set up as societal norms. And it's, why would you think in your right mind, like, what would the reason be that the government is giving preferential treatment to these individuals over the actual citizens of the nation? That's the problem. And I know that we've kind of seen like this kind of stuff happen like within the welfare system for years. I know like when it comes to like health services and things like that, you can be an illegal immigrant. They're not going to deny you services. So I know that there's been stuff like that taking place in the past, but this is going a little bit overboard, giving people free housing, giving people unlimited money cards, these crazy EBT cards. So yeah, I want to cross through the border. I want to get my immigrant starter kit, and I want to like fuel our channels. We get some advertisements. We'll get some good marketing going on, and let the government pay for that.
Yes,
greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, I would also be okay if we. I mean, yeah, there's got to be somebody who's done it already, and you know they just have to be really quiet about it, because the moment that they do, it's whistleblower type media, and you know how the U.S. treats whistleblowers too.
Oh yeah,
$42,000 EBT cards. Oh my gosh,
could you imagine? And I've seen some balances like New York City. There's been some balances with stuff like that. There's one guy in particular, I forget his name, that does these New York City videos. Really good though. Really good videos, really good video style too, because he'll put like a video inside of like where you put a newspaper, like one of those little things, and then he'll like open up the newspaper thing and like pop his head down and like say something, and then it'll go to the like transition to the next part of the video. So he'll just do all these weird things with the camera, and he's like walking around New York City, just like doing professionally edited videos, talking about what's happening with these, like the apartment buildings, the hotels being taken over, the crime. I think there was a big thing where a bunch of migrants hit up a Costco in New York City.
Dude,
there was also something. Okay. Listen, there was.
Ground.
I'm not sure.
$1.50 hot dog at Costco is hallowed ground.
I'm not.
It's like going to the Vatican and trying to like raid the.
I'm not sure which situation it was, dude. But they even used like kids for one of these things. They had kids come in and like do like
these bastards. How could they use the kids to steal from Costco?
Oh. I'm sure they didn't steal the hot dogs. There's a lot more valuable things inside of
But this
Costco.
Is why we can't have nice things. That is the butterfly effect. Rice, do you not see it? Them robbing Costco means that the hot dog is not going to be $1.50 this time next year.
No. That's never going to change. I think it's like almost like the 11th commandment that the Costco founder has said, that he will fire anybody that raises the price of the hot dogs. Like it is going to stay $1.50 forever.
It's force majeure. It's force majeure. What are they going to do?
He doesn't care if he's losing his money on wieners.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. But at the same time,
he's bringing the joy of the hot dog to people for such a low price.
Right, but here's the thing.
I'm surprised the government's not just using Costco $1.50 hot dogs and feeding everybody.
Right, it's all vouchers. That's why they went there.
For every meal. That's like $4.50 a day.
Dude, the senior citizens that camp out there will convince you that it's possible as a diet. But like, you know, that and the all-you-can-eat buffet places. You know that when it's all senior citizens, all folks on a fixed income, and then immigrants, it's like, all right, this is the spot. This is the spot where all hell will break loose. But no, I'm actually worried about that though, right? So I'm serious. Like, so not that it's going to directly cause it to be $1.50, but like
I know that you've been concerned about a lot though when it comes to the nation, and like the future and where we're headed and what's potentially on the horizon. And again, I know that you're like, that you're a very caring person, and I think you're frustrated that a lot of people aren't as prepared as you would like to see them be.
That's accurate, man. I mean, this thing that's happening in Colorado and then in Ohio, there's some people who are going to get hurt very soon when this turns violent, because it's not if, bro, it's when. We all know that trouble is brewing in some of these communities. And in the UK and across Europe, they're already covering up all kinds of problems, right? Like assaults, rapes, etc. Like this stuff they're already turning a blind eye in the UK. Like, how much longer until that starts happening here? And then here, as red-blooded Americans, we do something about it. It's not going to end well.
No, that's why there's been a lot of mention of the CW being put out into the mainstream. Yeah. The movie comes out in 7 days, I believe, or within the next 10 days on Max. So if I can, I'm going to try to copy it and put it up on my private website if it's worth people checking out. I think there's going to be some kind of like, I know it's already been out for a minute and it's gotten weird reviews, but I think there's still going to be like some predictive programming shit in there that would be good for people to pay attention to. No, I mean, it's been a setup in a lot of different directions. That's why when reading that article and sharing that video, it doesn't really matter who wins the election, because that situation, like you try to kick right. you kick us out, you try to kick them out, that's going to be a problem. And then if the people who let them in, you get in power, that's going to be a problem. Because I've been wondering.
But here's the thing, guys, all that stuff is over here.
Have we not
all
been
that
saying
stuff is over here though, and what they're actually doing is still the money printer. And now they're going to start talking about adjusting rates.
The majority of these people coming through the border, the majority seem to be not just men, but military-aged individuals. It doesn't seem to be a lot of older people.
Do we have demographics for all these groups that are coming in? Is there a breakdown?
I doubt that anything is. I doubt that there's anything that's gonna be non-biased. So it'd be good to look into, but I don't think there's going to be like an open, transparent checklist of what's going on. And who's crossing through, because they're allowing, like, I really wouldn't think that there's any sort of record for the ISIS terrorists that came through the border. I'm sure there's no record of them coming to the border.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's true. But at the same time, when we're busing certain groups into very specific areas, there are definitely going to be some logs for activities like that. I mean, or a manifest for the bus itself.
But it's probably the private. It's probably the private companies that have that information. The ones that are being hired, outsourced, because like the transportation companies or the nonprofits that are working. Because like in Arizona, like O'Keefe Media did some stuff undercover, going to like a migrant shelter facility. I don't know, 5 months ago, something like that. So And it's a lot of these other, just like the people that were supposed to be doing the food in New York City was supposed to be like a nonprofit service that was doing this they got the contract or whatever. I don't know for sure if it's nonprofit, but they got the contract. And it's all these individuals that have contracts that are working with the government that probably have records of this information. But I doubt our government is keeping it, and especially in a place where people like me and you will find it.
Right. Yeah. I'm wondering if there's any other way to get an informal count or census. And there's got to be some way. And I'm wondering if that's the call to action for citizen journalists or whatever, less so the whole like call to prepare or call to arms. You're getting a bunch of people who are saying like, oh yeah, the Hells Angels are going to go clean it up or whatever. We're going to go bring my old buddies from back in the service 30 years ago. It's like, no, you're not going to do shit, man.
Okay.
But we can maybe try to figure out, like you're saying, we've heard this, that a lot of them are whatever, military age. It'd be really cool if we could start to confirm that in any way.
Yeah, but either way, here's something I think we need to do. And this is like actually probably the real purpose behind the Second Amendment. I think the actual pew pew part is like the bonus, but I think that is what we need to be. I don't know why I did that as like an apostrophe S, but you saw what I said. I think that we need to reconsider creating our own local justice leagues.
I totally agree with that. But I would also say just a mutual aid society. People like, dude, do you even know your neighbor? Because if you don't even know your neighbor, or you don't even know the people who are on the same street as you, what happens in an event that things get really hairy on that street? Do you know if the person that you're looking at is friendly or not? You need to kind of know, like have a head count, right, of more of the people around you.
Well, it's also, it's good to be aware of your surroundings so that you know what could be a threat or what could be potentially something that you can ally with. Because I think the more that, we talked about this community, the more that people are actually working together, I think the better that people are going to be. because
Yes,
then you can
no,
you can
totally.
work off each other's strengths and weaknesses. You just have that. That's how we are. We are tribal creatures. That's why we see so much tribalism, maximalism, and all this bullshit.
Yeah, no, completely. What I'll say though is that on the case of and the question of prepping, just since we're on the topic of like being a little more prepared for social awkwardness, at least if not social unrest, it does make sense to have more food at home, and that the fastest way to ensure that you have more food at home is to grow it, and anybody can, even if it's windowsill farming or it's vertical growing in the backyard. If you have a very limited size of the property that you live on, or if you're in an area where you're adjacent to a garden, community gardens are great. They get raided fast by groups like we're hearing about.
Yeah.
So
I want to take this moment to promote my partnership with My Patriot Supply. So people can go to prepwithrice.com, prepwithrice.com, and you guys can save on emergency food kits. I think it's good to have these kind of things in addition to growing your own food. What do you think about having emergency food?
No, absolutely. And to be very clear, I absolutely have some. In fact, right off screen, I've got a 5-gallon bucket of oats, and that's just one thing that I have handy, because you can work through it and then you can cycle through it and get back to it later on. But yeah, it's like Drew said on that show, like having the grains specifically. Good luck having a large enough field that you can grow a lot of grain.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. With this deal, it looks like they've got, and they change their deals up constantly, but this right now at prepwithrice.com, you can get 50% off on the 4-week kit. I'm not sure if they've got anything for the other kits as well or not. So I'm just scrolling down, but I believe that if you click on anything beyond this, it still kind of keeps my, like a cookie with my, to help, basically help support the channel. So if you guys are interested in getting some emergency food, take advantage of my partnership with with My Patriot Supply at prepwithrice.com, prepwithrice.com. You support the channel, you can look out for yourself. And then while you're at it, go out and meet your neighbors. Go meet your neighbors.
Yeah.
Look up community farming in your area. If you know somebody with some land, why don't you talk to them about working together and farming together? If you don't have land yourself, vertical farming, there's all sorts of different possibilities of things that you can do.
Yep, urban farming is great. There's a family in why am I drawing blank here? It's not Pasadena, is it? Pasadena, California, that does the urban farming, the vertical farming, and they produce, like, they actually overproduce for a single residential suburban home, and they're able to sell the excess. So it's a profit center for them. But they do, if you're anywhere near the area, they also hold workshops so you can learn about how to do the vertical farming in that kind of a space. Then, of course, this is YouTube. You can leave right from this video after you're done, and you can look up how to do vertical farming.
That's one thing I do like about YouTube. Hey, what's interesting that too? Those videos that you're looking up, those like videos about how to do vertical farming and how to do whatever it might be, that's going to help you in a crisis type situation. Download those videos. Copy those videos and start building your offline library with these things, because not all these things may be available. We see a situation where the internet goes down. You can still have a hard drive, plug it into your computer, and still watch these things. So if you don't want to watch them right now, again, there's programs you can use to rip videos, and there's programs you can use with screen sharing to copy to basically just get a copy of the video yourself. So there's no excuses out there.
Yeah, let me drop some alpha on that note really fast, guys. Here's a little bit of proof of geek. I haven't done that for the audience during three Wise Man Wednesday in a while, but I'm going to pull up a recommendation here. Make sure I have the right link.
Did you notice that the world just went on fire behind us?
Yeah, and it's awesome. I'm here for it.
I like the fact that they're allowing video backgrounds now.
It is very cool, and yeah, custom ones too at that. But there's for the desktop
too.
That's awesome.
The blood, all that bloodiness. This is when we were talking about those proteins of the spikes.
Yeah, right. Those are. I'm just glad that we're
man.
Totally past that.
Dude, no, we're not, because that we didn't do a show last week because I was sick, and you guys are always more than welcome to continue doing the show without me if you guys want to. That's why I asked you if you wanted to do today. And Blood is sick, so and Blood, I'm pretty sure that I had the vid, and he's pretty sure he has the vid, or some flu-like thing that would be similar to. I don't know.
That's lame. Okay, so I've got 2 different recommendations here. I'm doing a screen share and pulling up the second one live. This is so yeah. You got FreeTube up on the up on screen. Did you go ahead and just copy the link?
Yeah. Well, I haven't copied it. I can't copy the link.
Oh,
I just pulled up. I just pulled the share. You didn't send a link in private chat. Where'd you send the link?
Yeah, you know what's funny though? So what's funny is that I thought it was the whole window. I just shared that tab, and I kind of need to.
We'll just unshare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The screen shares are weird. It's weird how it doesn't let you do audio when you share like a window or like share another browser.
Fine. Yeah, I don't need that so much. I apologize. I've got always on dark mode, so this is a little bit different. But newpipe.net, this is for Android devices only. It's not for Mac OS. It's not for your iPhone. I apologize. If you have an iPhone, reconsider your life choices. Get something that's more private than that. Any Android that you can change the software on. You can even buy them reflashed. You can even buy them used reflashed. They're safer. They're safer. But this thing right here, NewPipe, it is a YouTube client that lets you set up, or as you see also SoundCloud, a couple other services as well. It lets you set up your own custom playlists. It does not touch the Google servers in a way that doxes you. So you can set up all of these different playlists and have your favorites and stuff without YouTube building a profile on you. So Rice, like you're saying, if you want to build your own custom playlist of things that are like for vertical gardening, or for other kinds of prepping topics where you want to find out how best to do this stuff. Well, NewPipe also has
I like that. That's I was gonna say, so you can download through there as well.
Yes.
Is it downloading on your phone, or is there a desktop version of it?
The desktop version of it, I'm glad you asked. The nearest equivalent is FreeTube. And that's why I brought this up. FreeTube is a client that it's cross-platform, Mac OS, Windows, Linux. You don't have an excuse. It runs on all of them. Lets you do the same thing. And then you can create the playlists that you want to create without worrying about YouTube telling, basically building a profile saying, oh, with that Gmail account that you're using right there, you seem really interested in topics X, Y, Z. We're going to either A, put you in an echo chamber of data to only show you creators like that, or B, we're going to try to re-educate you.
Or all the above and put you on lists.
Exactly, right? It'll be a combination, right?
Re-education can't, man. I can't. That's probably
well. I mean, the thing, man, the farm, the whole like zoo and the prison, it's all open air now, man. They don't even put the ankle monitors on us. We willingly put them in our pockets. So yeah, the re-education camp is where you are right now in your home. But yeah. So yeah, this stuff is just, it's helpful. These are just tools, Rice, like you recommended, being able to download and create an archive of this stuff. The nice thing about FreeTube is it'll also let you separately download the transcript, the closed captioning file that YouTube makes for free. And then you can have a written text version. If you're enterprising and kind of more tech forward, I really like using these large language models, Rice, these crypto, not crypto, but AI models you can run at home on your own computers. And what I love is taking the transcript of certain videos and feeding it over to one of my AIs offline, totally offline. But you can only do that if you have this stuff downloaded and saved first, like you're saying, archived correctly. So yeah, a lot of the stuff you can train your own local AI assistant to help you out on. There's even stuff, if you want to get really nerdy, there's even AI models that you can force to run locally on your phone that don't need cloud access. Reject
the cloud. Reject the cloud.
You need to, man. Seriously.
Stay human, reject the cloud. Reject the cloud. We need to like make that a hashtag.
Right? The cloud is just somebody else's computer. And in this case, Apple is just telling you. Apple's just telling you that the other person's computer that you're borrowing right now is OpenAI's and theirs.
You know, you might be able to answer this question is like one of the last things we talk about before we wrap up is what the hell, where does this cloud exist? Where does this interweb exist? Where is the interweb, like the internet, the dark web? Where do they there's got to be some sort of physical fucking representation of this imaginary thing that I can't put my finger on. Like, where the hell is the cloud? It's not above me, that's for sure. Well, it might be in the satellite. I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to ask Perplexity really fast.
Now, if you're asking about the cloud, it's going to be probably talking about actual clouds.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is.
So how do you distinguish? What would it be called in a digital sense? Server. Server.
Yeah, just a server farm, man.
So they all exist in server farms, basically.
Yeah, that's literally what the cloud is. It's just somebody else's computer in a large server farm. So
they're not taking up any real space anywhere except for in server farms. We don't have
really
this like internet territory that people can't actually access.
Yeah, exactly. Here's Harry Potter demonstrating what a server farm is.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to share something earlier that I put a lot of time and effort into that I just want to put on screen for a moment, just to maybe possibly ruin somebody's day, because sarcasm kills.
Yeah.
I put the fork in front of that. The fork wasn't originally there. I did that, and it looks like it was part of the picture. I did such a good job. I'm proud of myself. But whoever put that picture together with those two cute animals inside of their bowl, I doubt it was a Haitian, but thought people would enjoy that.
You never can tell, man. It might be a Haitian that's Breaking Bad. He's not a very good Haitian.
Harry Potter is the one who runs the farms.
Yes. So just so you're aware, this is how the cloud works. It's magic. Harry Potter has to be there to operate it and repair it. But I mean, no, basically, yeah, that's what I'm saying. In addition to this whole like self-reliance bit, it's
I'm just wondering if there's like we talk about multiple dimensions. Is there an internet dimension? Is there a dimension for the internet space? It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe, but I doubt you could astral project into it. I wouldn't want to if I were you. It would all be like old 4chan posts and like goatsies and stuff. It'd be weird.
But yeah, offline libraries I think are really important. We've talked about it numerous times.
Yeah.
Mark.
So
why am I drawing a blank on his name? I'm sitting here like on a live stream trying to think of somebody's last name that I can't. It's just not coming to me. It'll come to me in a minute. He does these offline libraries. It starts with the P.
It's a great idea, man.
Starts with the P. Mark Passio. So he's got this thing called the Arc. Let me see if I can find his website. It's a really long one. What on earth is happening?
Yeah, was that the spider cache thing that had the little steel cable?
No.
Okay.
So this guy is like an anarchist. Let me go back in the other browser. He is an anarchist, former Satanist, but he was part of the Church of Satan long time ago, got away from it, and started educating people about what anarchy is, about hermetics, about all kinds of so many different things. His motto is ending slavery one mind at a time. And I think you'll appreciate this that he's put together. He's got this thing called the Arc. And it's the amazing repository of knowledge. And this is a 2 terabyte hard drive. Basically, you ship him the hard drive, and he's going to ship it back to you. It's got over 3,400 video files, 9,500 digital books, 2,600 audio files that are available for offline browsing. A lot of stuff that's already been kind of scrubbed from the internet.
Yeah.
So
this is interesting, man. Is it as a service? What does he charge? This can't be free.
No, I don't know exactly what the service is, how much he charges, but it's you have to supply and send him the hard drive for him to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, these days, here's the thing: a really fast SSD, not an external drive, but just a basic SSD, you can get it for less than $100.
Well, that's what he says. 60.
Like
he says on here like $60. He says available from retailers for less than $60 for a 2 terabyte external hard drive.
Yes. If you were impatient like me and you wanted to be really, really fast storage, then it's not even that much more.
I know he charges. It can't be anything super crazy, but I know he charges. So
the Super Bowl of knowledge. He's not wrong though. Here's the thing: when it comes to like,
and he's been doing this for a long time. But it was awesome. Whitney Webb, who's recently over the past, I would say maybe 8-9 months, who started talking about the idea of like, when they take down the internet, because there's already been kind of that cyber attack kind of power grid, whatever being put into the mainstream. So when the internet goes down and it comes back up, it may not be the same internet that we have been familiar with. Like, it could be a lot of shit scrubbed. So that's where she's saying, download what you can while you can, because you may not have a lot of time to do that.
They're totally right. I mean, so yeah, Rice, that you make a fair point. The local library here, I bring my boys over to my wife and I bring our boys over to do their used book sale. And oftentimes we pass on a lot of stuff, right? There's a bunch of junk that just nobody wants. You'd be shocked at how many books get published that it's like, holy hell, like, who approved this? Who paid for this? But, you know, they exist or whatever. That said, we look for these little gems, stuff like prepper material, like do-it-yourself manuals, like old mechanic, like the thick, like Chilton books to help you do repairs on internal combustion engines. I mean, if you don't have a YouTube guide to go through that stuff, you need something that's going to get you through maintaining and protecting what you already have. So, yeah, man.
Agreed.
Same idea.
And I think, you know, we should, you know, be bringing it up as much as possible and reminding people to make sure they're doing it. And I might even try to take this part of the video and clip it out just about creating offline libraries, because that's important in and of itself. I know it's slightly off topic, but it goes back into preparing for the inevitable and being prepared for disappointment. That is my serenity. That is my key to serenity, is as sad as it sounds, being prepared for the worst case scenario is my key to serenity.
Nice. No, I definitely can appreciate that. Yeah, and you're right. I have been very concerned about how the way that the country is going lately. I've had very serious conversations with with members of my life to ask them, like, hey, if things got really bad, are we bugging out or bugging in? Because bugging in might look an awful lot like fighting.
Yeah.
Like, if it came to it, that's what it's gonna. Do you want to have a like the worst of the worst outcome potentially here? Do you think you can outrun it somewhere else? Because maybe you can't. So yeah.
If people live in rural areas, I think more rural areas are going to be better off for a while. Now, at the same time, I can't say all, because Springfield, Ohio seems to be kind of rural in and of itself too. So
yeah, it seems like that. But if not everybody's living on acreage, that's not really my idea of rural. Like, if you have a city center, a downtown, but it's not really built out.
If you have a Walmart.
Yeah, but the thing though, a place like that, yeah, if you got a Walmart and they chased out all the other private vendors years before, that probably is a decently rural area now. It's just sad because, yeah, I went to a town like that where it was very obvious that maybe 15 years ago they weren't completely overrun by just Walmart, but now they are. Like, they beat down the local economy. But I'm going to tell you, man, it was the best Walmart I've ever been in my life.
Well, I'm saying it's the places without a Walmart that's rural. The places that Walmart doesn't want to go to, like, they don't feel like it's worth their time, because there's places where it's like, there's no Walmart around here. Like, that's where you're kind of like, I feel like, oh wow, like I'm in the Wild West.
Yeah, I get that. I can see that. But yeah, no, it makes sense, man. Just the preparations that you can do. Crypto, it's kind of funny. Crypto is important. It's more important than ever, Rice. And here's my reason for saying that. It's more important than ever because they didn't bring it up last night. I know you predicted that they wouldn't bring it up, but they didn't bring it up last night. We call that the silent presence, right? The 800-pound gorilla in the room. What didn't they talk about that they really should have talked about?
But how many we care about it, but how many Americans care about it? Not, I would say not many, in all honesty. It's not like a concern amongst the top 10 things that most Americans are concerned with, the problems with our country.
Right. My
and plus, I think that right wing, left wing, same bird. They're gonna do roughly similarly same things. They might use different words for it, because Donald Trump talks about how he's going to make sure that we're able to keep our self custody. Cynthia Loomis is it too. Cynthia Loomis is pushing for bills she's very anti-privacy and pushing for bills that are like very, very pro KYC AML. So and I've said this numerous times, maybe even on our shows together, is that Americans self-custody is going to come at the price of KYC AML.
Okay, it's gonna come with the price of KY jelly. They know all about you.
I'm just saying they're going to be like, yeah, you can totally, have your own crypto, but we're going to need you to identify your wallet with identification so we can track and trace you and make sure we get what's ours.
Yeah, no, it's coming. It's moving that direction, but that's
and I think
all the more
either
reason
party
that
is going to be that
crypto.
direction.
No, I totally.
We're gonna
agree.
get
Trump,
we're gonna get a programmable currency, whether they call it a central bank digital currency, a digital dollar, use stable coins, private banks, whatever the fuck. It's all the same.
We are, but at the same time, algorithmic stablecoins are over collateralized stablecoins that are sound, that are not, UST waiting to implode. There are stablecoins today that are over collateralized that work, and hopefully we never get rid of those, and we continue to see more and more competition in those, and companies, if it requires companies setting up offshore to get those on chain, because Rice, everything you're saying is true, but that's all the more reason that to get into cryptocurrency and sovereign custody and privacy tools.
No, like, I mean, obviously, I'm a big proponent of crypto. You know that, and that's why I've been trying to put a little bit more emphasis on the privacy coins, because I think that's where we need to be in the direction of utilizing privacy coins more than anything. I mean, there's a time and place to use other coins. Cumberland Gap.
Don't dox for anybody online. Don't dox for anybody on YouTube. Don't even tell them roughly where you live. You don't have to do that. Nobody here expects that of you.
I have no clue where this dude lives. He totally avoids the question of, hey, you live in this state, right?
Look, hey, we're friends, and I'll hang with you anytime. Seriously, till the wee hours of the morning. That's our frame, though, bro. That's what we go and do, right? And here's the thing: when the time is right, and you're really warm, you will know. For everybody else, all the rest of you motherfuckers tuning in, you don't need to know where I live.
No. No, I get what you're saying. No, I mean, I've been, if I could turn back time, I would probably have done a lot differently than using my name and a lot of things. So
yeah, I hear that for sure.
I would have been like Crypto Wendio and used a totally different name that has nothing to do with my real name.
Yeah, or just been Anon and not had your face on camera at all.
Yeah, but I felt like I wanted to be like a poster child for a movement, and I realized that, like, you kind of go in gung ho, and then you realize that sometimes you don't need to go into some situations so headstrong.
Yeah, well, the authoritarians are they're speaking their piece now, and they're making their.
And my voice is my voice. So if I was to like create a new channel with no camera, it would I think people would figure out that it's me. Or I would have to use some sort of like vocoder thing to change my voice.
We should do an episode just like that. I'm going to talk to you offline for this one, but
we should do an episode where we have each other's faces on each other, like.
And are speaking with each other's voices in an AI filter.
Yeah, like I could be Blood's face with my voice, and then you can have. Well, no, I like the idea of like us having a different voice with a different face, like, and us being each other's face, and we can trade faces for shows.
That
we just need like awesome. A really good, sort of like a Snapchat filter that we've got some sort of mask for each one of us that we can place on each other, and we can all. Because I was even telling Blood at one point when we were thinking about stuff for our show, I was like, we got to get a picture of the two of us and combine it into what we would look like together as one individual. Like babies. Like what would our baby look like?
Yeah, like that AI hybrid photo of George W. Bush and Barack Obama, where it's like it looks kind of like both of them.
Yeah, and it's kind of gray too, which I think me and Blood would be gray because of our color differences, and trying to meld the two together and make it one color.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, just a little bit. But anyway.
Yeah. So dude, great show, man. Great show. Sending out love to Crypto Blood, who is sick. Hopefully he gets better soon. And I know you're going to be going to Token. What is it? 2049? Was it like Blade Runner shit like in the future?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's they're from the future. They're here to tell you that AI takes over and crypto doesn't win. I don't know. I don't get it.
What are the dates for that?
That is the 17th and 17th and 18th. I should know this. 18th and 19th in Singapore at the Marina Bay Sands Hotel and Resort. And at the very top, it's the one that looks like a giant cruise liner up on top of the buildings. Like they just placed a giant cruise liner there. Singapore is a lovely place. It's incredibly expensive.
Really?
What you would consider, what you would consider like a 3-star accommodation, just meaning that you have a private room. That's it. Just meaning you have a private room with your own bathroom to walk into, and you're not sleeping in a pod, literally, is a minimum of $350 a night. And if you want to just have your own room, and I get that's a little bit, that's somewhat upscale here in certain markets in the United States, but that would get you to like a 4-star accommodation here. There, it's barely 3-star. It's like,
what's a pod run?
A pod can run as little as $50 a night, but it's totally communal. You don't even have so much as a lockbox to put your friggin' wallet into. So you're like, it's like a youth hostel, but
it's not like a single pod.
No, it's not even. It doesn't. Yeah, they don't have like the slide down doors or whatever. There's no security involved in it.
Oh, see, I thought it'd be like you're sleeping in your own little individual like pill pod.
No,
like,
no, cool. They're just like open hostel pods. Yeah, you just climb up.
That sounds like a shipping container they're making a bunch of people sleep in.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Remember Mike saying a guy got thrown in jail for a bad review of a hotel in Thailand? This is what scares me about Southeast Asia. Dude, jaywalking is actually prosecuted in Singapore. Think about that. Spitting and jaywalking in public.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me if I was going to go. There's, after hearing what you're saying about that area, there's no fucking way I'm going to step foot in a country like that.
It's intense, but at the same time, you know, it is one of those
not
things
like
where
that.
like
Not movie, like that.
Right. But that movie Crazy Rich Asians, it's totally based in Singapore, right? Like it is that place where like it's upscale for a reason, but it's also this kind of thing where like it's just kind of crazy. So I am going, and Rice, you're going to appreciate this. I made sure to get my accommodations at a very convenient point to a few different temples. I am pretty close to a Hindu temple, a Buddhist temple, and a Taoist temple. And those are just ones that I know of. There's apparently.
So you're going to go check them all out? You're going to do tours?
Absolutely, man. I mean, why?
So
How long are you
going to be there?
I'm probably going to be there a couple days extra, but here's the thing: even half a day is enough downtime to go visit some of these places. So
let me know. Take some pictures, man. I'd love to see some pictures. So yeah, what I'm also getting at is Seth will not be with us next week, and depending on if Seth drinks any water while he's in Singapore, he may not be with us the following week either. So,
dude, I'm literally on an anti-parasitic cleanse right now to play catch up from the bug that I caught in Bali whenever ago.
Yeah, no, I believe it, dude. I believe it.
Yeah,
totally.
It's been rough.
I mean, next week's FOMC. It is what it is. Me and Blood will cover that. We'll shout you out.
I'll let you know my levels. What I think I'm going to do to catch a falling knife or like match resistance at the top or whatever. Like I am going to keep a trading account active and working for me, but it's going to be vicariously through limit orders and take profit and stop loss targets. But yeah, I'm trying to get into that whole side, man. I think Tom and Crypto Face and Sam Price, Lifer, I think that, and Blood, you're right, our own Blood here. I think these guys have mad skills. I'm in deep awe of what they do, and you know, I want to learn the dark arts of making a chart. Just give me money. That'd be cool.
Yeah, no, I had reached out to Face, and I gotta like coordinate with. He's cool with the idea, and I've mentioned it with Blood too individually. Is to have both of them kind of do like a tutorial with me about leverage trading.
Nice.
So that way people understand the safe way to do or safer ways to do things to that effect, as opposed to screwing up. Real quick, I just want to take an opportunity to tell everybody real quick that are watching. If you haven't smashed that like button, we greatly appreciate it. We're both streaming on our YouTube channels, our X accounts, and my Rumble, and we have links down below for each other's channels. We have over 600 people watching on X between both of our accounts. So I would love to see some reposts of these live streams from myself or MineYourBiz, MineYour_biz. It'd be greatly appreciated because it does put more eyes on our content. And if you felt like today's video needs to be heard, which I think so, definitely share it out.
Yeah.
So, man, bro, I didn't mean to like cut you off. Do you have anything that you wanted to add before we wrap up today?
No, it was really comprehensive and very meandering, and actually a lot of fun. Because, dude, here's the thing: the IRL interactions, the personal interactions. 3 years from now, we're gonna miss these times. This is gonna feel like the good old days. Believe it or not, this is actually gonna feel like the good old days. It can get worse, so prepare.
Yeah, I mean, just think about like when we were quarantining and how many people didn't have much contact or interactions with other human beings, and how awkward that made a lot of people once the quarantining was finished. So I enjoyed the show as always. I wish you the best of luck in Singapore, and yeah, I'll wrap this up. If you want to talk, man, text me. If you want to talk sometime tonight or before you leave, just text me and we can catch up. I want to just go ahead and wrap up the stream and grab some food.
All right, man.
I haven't eaten yet, and I'm starving. So much love, man.
There you go. Self-care.
Appreciate you joining.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna ride us out with our remix of those 3 AI hip hop tracks that you created for me, you, and Crypto Blood. Shout out to Crypto Blood, who's sick in bed.
Yo, it's Crypto Blood, Detroit flow, streaming from the D, knowing what to show, indicators are wrong point, OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro, I'm Rucker, Jerry, it's just Blood too, bad motherfucker in a good way, boo, got my eyes on the charts, ain't no time to sleep. Get that money, gotta keep it creep. That's why Crypto Blood, just the toasters on the line. Stacking my coin, got the market on my mind. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum too. Cash is king, but I'm looking for a new move. I know the culture of the markets like the streets. Got my finger on the pulse, can't nobody beat. I see the trends, I see the flow. Got my strategies in place, you know.
Yo, it's MY on the mic, coming through the mist, talking crypto and privacy things you can't dismiss. YouTube's wild jungle, I'm the lion, can't resist. Guiding through the blockchain, teaching about the risk. Mind your biz, don't miss. Eeny, mighty biz, we on a privacy blitz. Seth in the mix, dropping knowledge with no tricks. YouTube to the wallet, keep it tight, no links. Click clack, I hack the facts, that's how I attack. From Bitcoin to Monero, stacking privacy back. YouTube's got eyes, but I'm the cloak in disguise. NYB on the rise, educating the wise. Mind your biz, don't miss. Eeny, mighty biz, we on the privacy blitz. Step in the mix, dropping knowledge with no tricks. YouTube to the wallet, keep it tight, no links.
Rice TVX, the mic's live wire. American Pitbull, real gold buyer. Sound money advocate, rights defender. In the crypto arena, he's the top contender. From the gritty streets of the digital age, Rice lays wisdom, chapter and page. Silver, gold, he scores only the bold. Land, life, and liberty, these values hold. Constitution, deep dive, knowledge revival. Navigate the system, critical for survival. Rights engraved like inscriptions on metal. Pitbull in the game, lead foot on the pedal.